What is up, guys? Frugal BC, and today we are talking about a bunch of Algorand news, including a pretty major platform on Algorand shutting down, but also some good news. We're going to dive into that today. Let's see what we got. We got Algo Explorer announcing its shutdown, and some implications that the foundation didn't play ball with them. We're going to see the reaction to that as well. Also, Algo Faucet is shutting down, along with Metrica, which I didn't even know what it was when I saw that, so we will look at that, as well as some mystery transactions on TravelX. I think this is maybe the sign of something really good happening. And a little funny thing with anti-Algorand clown, otherwise known as the SEC chair, Gary Gensler, getting community noted for his nonsense about crypto. I like to see that. So we'll check the state of the end so you can check that out. By the way, if you haven't hit the like and subscribe button, I would really appreciate that. As you know, we kind of do the experiment, we explore the news, we try things out, and then we just let you know the good, the bad, and the ugly. I don't sugarcoat anything. I do focus a lot on Algorand. I also like Near Protocol and HBAR. Should be putting together an HBAR news segment pretty soon. And interesting that I found out John Woods and Lehman Baird have been in talks a lot. So I think that's cool, because I think they're kind of compatible from ethos perspective, not from architecture. Architecturally, they're pretty different, but which John Woods talked about in our channel. And I've been sharing a lot of clips there, so I haven't done a ton of news segments, but I wanted to do one today. Before we do that, also, I want to thank our sponsors, Non-Fungible Domains, which if you want those .algo address, or now you can get the .barb.algo address for your wallet. I don't really understand the barb thing. Everyone's talking about it. I wish I could tell you more. I don't get it. And I've seen people ask for explanations, and nobody helps out and gives them an explanations. Welcome to crypto Twitter. This is the way it works. I do know it's a meme coin, and we can look a little bit at that today. But yeah, but if you want one of those segments, go get it. Non-fungible domains. I like it just to not have all those letters and numbers after, and it's easier just to remember frugalbc.algo. Also brought to you by Fractal Monsters, which is a Web3 game built on the Algorand blockchain. You can play it for free, or you can buy one of the little critters if you want to earn. When they have periodically, they have where you can earn different cryptos, different ASAs like DFly or Akita or even Pepe for a while there. I like what they're doing. I like how they're building on the chain. Kind of a Pokemon, Tamagotchi, even a little bit of Smash Brothers thrown in there. So neat game on there. Definitely appreciate the support of both of those projects, and check out their links in the description below. But let's get into this. Algo Explorer, which is a very useful tool in the Algorand ecosystem, I will absolutely say that, announced that they are shutting down. So let's take a look at what they had to say. And stay tuned, because I'm going to give John Woods' reaction to this. I think he said some very, very important things, but let's get into it. It is with a heavy heart that we announced the shutdown of Algo Explorer, a key component of the Algorand ecosystem since its inception. Algo Explorer has been an integral part of the journey, built alongside the Algorand blockchain since Sylvia McCauley and his team launched the initial testnet. Now, that's a very important piece of information, that it's been around since the beginning, so at least 4 years. It might have been longer, because I'm not sure when the testnet started. Unfortunately, the Algorand Foundation's grant for 2023 used the 30-day moving average of Algo for billing has proven insufficient due to the cryptocurrency's price decline throughout the year. This is going to be key here. This funding model has led to significant shortfalls in US dollar terms, impacting our ability to cover operational costs. Despite exhaustive efforts, including personal financial sacrifices from our team, we will be unable to sustain the project next year under these constraints. Now, I think that's a really key piece of information for a couple reasons. One, I think it gives us a sense of why a lot of these projects were shutting down as the price started to drop, because I think a lot of these projects may have been getting money from the Algorand Foundation, and so the price drop means you're getting less money in US dollar terms, which, you're gonna have to pay your AWS bill and all that in USD. So it kind of gives a sense of like how many of these projects must have been relying on Algorand Foundation funding. But that's another point, and John Woods is going to get into that, and we'll get into that in a second. But let's see. Let's continue on here. Our journey with Algo Explorer has been one of relentless dedication. We've made difficult decisions, disabling NFT support, login advanced statistics, etc., to manage costs. Despite these efforts, the downward pressure on Algo and the Foundation's payment policies have left us facing insurmountable liabilities. Now remember, John Woods told us on our channel that Algorand only brings in about $2 million in fees per year. So they don't have a lot of money coming in. There's a lot of money going out. And this this company has gotten more than that over the course of its time. We'll talk about that in a minute. Despite our transparent communication regarding the financial hardships throughout the year and the critical role of Algo Explorer in the ecosystem, we're going to talk about that too. The foundation has not been forthcoming in addressing the shortfall. Their reluctance to assist in mitigating part of the deficit and liabilities incurred from the moving average pricing model has been disheartening. It appears that the foundation's actions, or lack thereof, were oriented more towards ensuring the demise of our operation before the end of 2023 contract, potentially to gain control over the code, rather than focusing on what would be most beneficial for the ecosystem as a whole. So they flat out accused the foundation of purposely tanking them in order to gain control of the Algorand Explorer, which, by the way, we're going to find out that that narrative doesn't really add up because they're not doing that, but we'll talk about that in a second. So my thought reading this is like, well, wait a minute. Why is it up to the foundation to continually fund your operations? You've been around for 4 years. Did you not have a plan to be profitable? We'll dig into that a little bit in a minute. Well, let's just get into it because John kind of answers the same thing I'm about to say. So John Woods, who is known for not really mincing his words, for being very vocal in the community, says real beep. I'm not going to say it because I don't want to offend the algorithm gods of YouTube, but the Algorand Foundation has funded Rand Labs with over 4.6 million US dollars, including 530,000 this year. So you've gotten 530,000 to fund your business. How many businesses just have like this kind of funding available to run? Like if you're not making a profit, you don't really have a business. Like this is more of a nonprofit. So maybe they should have like built themselves as a nonprofit, not a company. I don't know. We did look at the feasibility of running Algo Explorer, so fair enough, they looked at it, but our goal for the growth of the ecosystem is not to subsidize unprofitable companies, but rather to create the right environment for potentially profitable companies to thrive. And this is what I thought, because I think if you get a grant to start a business, that should not be an ongoing thing, and you should not rely on grants to fund your business, or you don't really have a business. I like the idea that the foundation would just continue to fund this in perpetuity. Like, I don't know if that was their plan. Because as we'll see, this is Rand Labs, which is also behind the C3 protocol. So it could be, to be fair, it could be that they wanted to hold off long enough to, have C3 go to mainnet, which would then, that's going to bring in some profit, and maybe that would help fund the Algo Explorer side of things. And also I kind of wonder, this is one thing it's beyond my pay grade. How much does it cost to run Algo Explorer? I'm not sure. I have to think that, we don't know anything about their staffing levels. Like, do they have too many people working on this? Because I imagine building something like this and getting it up and running is far more labor intensive than just keeping it running. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong on that. There's just a lot we don't know. And anyway, he says Allo, which is another company on Algorand, as well as Parawallet, have phenomenal dev teams, and they have been working around the clock for months to make sure we have great alternatives for Algorand Explorer. And actually, Algo Explorer has said that they are working on building something similar, so we might see that. I've seen their 2024 roadmaps, and I'm bullish AF on what they can deliver for our ecosystem. So it kind of sounds like the Algorand Explorer is the functions are going to be taken care of. But I think that's important. It's an important conversation because it brings to mind a bigger issue of like, what's the foundation's role? And I've never really gotten a good answer on what the metrics are for these grants. Now my understanding is they're no longer grants, but they're investments, which has changed a little bit. But I do think I think John's words are fair that it shouldn't be about perpetually funding a non-profitable company. Like, it should be building the basis for profitable companies to emerge and, taking care of some of those early expenses. But you should have a plan to be at least sustainable as a company, if not, growing a profit. So I don't know. It's a very interesting situation. I think it's something worth talking about. And I think we're going to see less of these businesses that don't really have a great business plan, and it doesn't seem like they had a great business plan. It's a very good site. I like the site. It's, Algo Explorer, everyone uses it. It's really good to use. I just think I think we have to be careful when we talk about that. So a couple other ones I just want to bring up quick. Algo Faucet is shutting down. I believe it's algofaucet.com. And I actually didn't know this existed. I reported on some faucets a while ago that had gone away already, so I didn't realize there was another one that came back. Their site just flat out says they're done. So in fact, let me pull this up. I have to thank Taco Coin for this one, for sharing about this. I just saw this today. Yeah, it was thealgofaucet.com. As you can see, with the news from Pure Steak's free API shutting down at the end of the month, I think I'm done with the faucet. It's going to be a hassle to go around all my scripts and make them with a new API provider. I was almost already done with this project, but I figured as long as it works, let's keep it rolling, but now it requires more effort than I'm willing to put in to keep it going. So he's sending back all ASAs in the faucets account by the end of the last week of December onto the creator accounts and distribute all algos to holders of the Algorand faucet drops. Around 30 algo to send into the year stats like I did in January 2023. It's been a pleasure. Take care, everybody. So that one is done, mostly because this free API shut down. Now this is a little different because like this isn't a key piece of infrastructure. So, you know, absolutely you have to, if you start a faucet and you just don't want to run it anymore and it's a big pain because of something like that, I can see like these little things, like if you're just running this, like I don't know if it's really like a business per se, you know, it's something kind of fun to do for the community. So cool to, yeah, it always sucks to see anything like that shut down, of course, but it is what it is. And let's see. The other one, this one really surprised me because, let's see. Yeah, something called Metrica apparently has stopped its partnership with the Algorand Foundation. I have no idea what Metrica was, but here's the news. To show you that. This is from I Get Trades, shared this. Important announcement, conclusion of the Metrica partnership with Algorand. They are concluding that partnership on the 2nd. So, their public dashboards and community learning services will no longer be available. I had no idea. I never heard of Metrica before. So at least they were nice on the way out. They didn't throw any Molotov cocktails on their way out. They just said this partnership has been an integral part of our journey, and we are immensely grateful to the Algorand Foundation and its community for their unwavering support and contributions over the past few years. So they basically said nice things. Yeah, as Elder says, and I agree with this, says any project that cannot stand on their own feet should close the door. Algorand Foundation is not a charity. Exactly. It's a platform you can build, and yeah, they're giving grants, but you know, some of those funds have been given to grifters, Next Gen Shoes, anyone, and some projects. That's not what he said. And some projects just didn't work. However, there are plenty that did, and more importantly, Algorand Foundation has smartly stopped the grant program and is now co-investing in projects. That means selection is much more rigorous, which I think it always should have been, frankly, but that's just me. Like I said, I just thought, like, I just had a hard time finding like any criteria. I've heard these pitches, you know, it was interesting listening to these pitches. Some of them sound like when I was at Decipher, some of them I thought, oh my gosh, that's really smart. And then you'd hear some and you're like, that just sounds like solution in search of a problem. So it's very interesting. And then some of these are so bizarre. Headline is still one of those ones that baffles me because I don't understand. It seems like it's like, let's create a crypto company and then try to find something to do with it. It changes. I did a long deep dive on them a long time ago, and it was one of the most bizarre companies. I met the guy at Decipher. He seemed nice enough. He had a good conversation, but yeah, kind of a weird project. Anyway, two actually. So let's talk some good news because we've been talking some, you know, these aren't the most positive news in the world. TravelX, as you know, is that one of the cool real world asset things happening is the NFT ticket solution for airlines. Flybondi, which is a South American airline, has been using NFT tickets built on the Algorand blockchain. Something interesting happened. We saw this huge spike of traffic, and you can see this here. DApp activity, all of a sudden really huge. 27th. And as Kyle Lee says, I try to stay away from posts about sex. I don't know, this isn't about sex, but myself, TravelX was running at 17,000 transactions every 1,000 blocks, 24th through the 26th. And they decided try 17,000 transactions per 100 blocks on the afternoon of the 27th. This is when the chain hit 80 TPS, 170 internal TPS for 2 hours. This is the sexiest thing I've seen so far on Algorand. I hope I don't get banned for saying that word, but yeah, I've seen these. There's actually a couple like really big spikes in activity, including like today as I'm recording this, which is really cool. In fact, Week of the Devil, I mean, you can see these spikes here. I mean, that's huge. That's a huge spike. This is 1 month to, if you go to the 6 month, this is daily. You can see we got a pretty big spike today too. We got up to that one day, we had 2 million transactions on the 25th. And then now, once again, we're having a huge number of spikes of transactions. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but nice to see some activity on Algorand. Yeah, and I guess this won't matter because Algo Explorer is shutting down, but you have to go to the 6 months to get daily transactions. So I made a huge mistake in one of my videos because I was relying on, I think the 1 month came up by default, and I was like, oh yeah, so it's around 200 some transactions a day. But these are, you can see there's multiple data points for each day. So if you go to the 6 month, then it's, which I think they should make more clear on here personally, but it is what it is. So, and you're seeing total, and this might be bar related because you're seeing a lot of non-algo transactions are actually higher than regulars, which usually isn't the case. So could be, but all right. And then one more little thing. Anti-Algorand clown, otherwise known as SEC chair Gary Gensler, got community noted for being full of crap. And it's not unusual. We've seen a lot of nonsense from Gary Gensler. And it's not really about being anti-crypto or pro-crypto, but it's just being ridiculous. It's being not fair. Coinbase, for example, has been asking for compliance standards. They've been saying, hey, we want to comply with the law. Give us the actual rules. And the SEC has simply refused. And I don't know how a regulatory agency can refuse to give you any guidance while coming after you for breaking the law. It just doesn't make any sense. Gary says there's a lot of non-compliance in the crypto space that undermines confidence when so many people have been hurt, and all they can do is stand in line in the bankruptcy court. Further, this can make it hard for good faith actors to compete. So, you got community noted. It says crypto companies like Coinbase, a public company that the SEC oversaw the listing of, have been trying to gain clarity on SEC guidance for compliance for the past 3 years. The thing that I just said. The SEC hasn't taken a clear stance and has relied on regulation by enforcement. There's the sources. I mean, exactly what I would have said. Yeah. And also, where were you with FTX? Because you were meeting with Sam Bankman-Fried. You didn't seem to care much about any of the stuff that he was doing. So, I mean, once again, the SEC is asleep at the wheel for the actual damaging actors, just like they were with Madoff. They let Madoff get away with it for years and years and years. I mean, they had it basically shoved under their nose, and all they had to do was act, and they didn't. So, plus the financial crisis, yeah, they did a great job there too. The fact is, these guys are failures, and I just have no respect for the SEC. If they actually did their job correctly, I would have respect for them, but they just don't. They go after people they think they can bully, and the actual dangerous people they steer clear of. They just have no guts. So that's my opinion. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and hit the like and subscribe button if you did, or I guess you can hit the down button if you don't like it. Leave me a nasty comment, or you can leave me a nice one. I like comments. As you know, I try to get back to just about everybody at least once. So feel free to comment. And otherwise, I'm Frugal BC, and I will see you in the future.